Okay, so welcome everybody to another session of MatMed on the Hub, where we're having these wonderful informal conversations about things we're passionate about remedies and what we learn about them. And this particular series is about remedies made from water. And as I was putting this together, I was remembering a talk that Jason-Aeric had given about the incredible experience that happened with the proving of the remedy that they made from glacier ice. So, Jason-Aeric, I have been looking forward to this. We started talking about doing this class, what, 6 months ago?
Yes.
And so it's been on the calendar. I've had a long time to look forward to it. So
It-
Jason-Aeric is the founder and director of the Prometheus Institute of Homeopathy, runs a school in Minnesota, and has been up to his ears in provings for a long time and has really good expertise in how a proving is well run and what happens with the data. And we've talked about setting up a provers group on the hub, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that in the future that'll happen, and it'll be an opportunity for those of you who have never been part of a proving who are interested in doing that. And in the meantime, Jason-Aeric, talk to us about this remedy.
well, I just want to say that approving is an opportunity to wade in the water, to use the metaphor of the moment,
Yes.
right? And I think as I was preparing for this, just in my inward way, I was thinking about how many homeopathic practitioners understand the theoretical and the mystery of homeopathy, having taken it, but there's something that happens altogether different within yourself when you participate in approving. It is an opportunity to take a deep dive within oneself and to go to places that you haven't really imagined yourself able to go, because a substance, the genius or the creative essence of the substance, takes you on a journey. And when that starts to happen, people become uh, confusified. They become perplexed. They wonder, like, they start to say, this is not me. This is not me. And it's really dawned on me when I think about this, um, each proving and the distinct symptomatology that comes up within each proving. It's really striking that homeopaths, people who've been trained and who have been in the field, are caught off guard or unawares of the power of this process.
Yeah, you're swept up. You know, Hahnemann talked about each remedy as an artificial disease.
Yes,
And so in the proving, you're swept up in this process of an artificial disease, of an altered state. And it can be incredibly compelling. Yeah.
yes, exactly. And
And it
so,
also is interesting in terms of what's going on in the social milieu at the time. I was having a conversation one day with Jeremy Shear, and we were
mhm,
talking about the proving he did of the remedy neon. And he
yeah,
knew what the substance was, but nobody else knew what the substance was. And the preparations had been made and they had been given out to everybody, but they hadn't started yet. Everybody had their little vial to take, and it was going to start the next day. And the night before, the person who was the master prover, not Jeremy, but the main supervisor for the whole proving, somebody randomly dumped some boxes of old broken neon lights in the backyard of this
exactly.
person's house.
Yes.
Go friggin' figure. It's just it, the we have this idea, and I hope, maybe it's not appropriate to talk about this today, but at some point we should talk about how in provings, it's not limited to these 5 people or 8 people or 20 people and the master prover. It is happening on the planet.
Right.
So let's talk about that with regard to glacier ice. Aqua, what is it?
It's
What's the official
Aqua,
name?
it's Aqua Glacier Antarctica.
Okay,
And
put that in the chat.
Yes, I can. Do you want me to do that right
I will
now?
do that.
Okay. And let me just start by saying this is a quote from Otto Nordenskjöld, a Swedish geologist who wrote a diary entry on the 11th of January 1902. We were now sailing a sea across which none had hitherto voyaged. The weather had changed as if by magic. It seemed as though the Antarctic world repented of the inhospitable way in which it had received us the previous day, or maybe it merely wished to entice us deeper into its interior in order the more surely to annihilate us.
Whoa.
At all events, we pressed onward, seized by that almost feverish eagerness which can only be felt by an explorer who stands upon the threshold of the great unknown.
Wow.
So I'm reading this because when we began this proving, we had a couple of things that started January 6th, the insurrection and the whole political unrest, and the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis, which is I'm in the Twin Cities, and so like these kind of phenomena of like forces converging,
Hostile.
hostile forces converging, and differing opinions, and all these energies rising up and crashing down into the depths. This all is part of the process of what arose in this Aqua glacier Antarctica. And so um and so I would say that glacier water, Antarctic snow, this remedy is approving for our times with its themes of death and darkness, of chaos, of deep healing, and the possibility of healing rifts within and chasms within our society, and it has also been a remedy for the name of the epidemic that shall not be spoken. In
The,
that
the
for those
pandemic. Yep. The
individuals
I can't breathe thing.
who feel as though their lungs are filling with water, or their trachea is filling with water, or they have squishing sounds, and like when um like antimonium tartaricum fails, or antimonium arsenicosa fails, etc., etc. And also this is also a remedy to consider for long COVID long haulers. And
Wow.
so
Interesting.
um and so these are all things that I've have been experiencing, and I'm trying to get the word out for people. This is something to know. What I will say to you is that the provings that I um, uh, bring into the world, they I administer the remedies without knowing what the substance is. And to me, this helps to increase the efficacy of the proving process. And it also helps to discount some of our well-meaning colleagues who believe that there are no modern provings that have any kind of efficacy. And
Yeah.
of course, just in the event that you run across these people, my answer to this is that no proving has efficacy until you, the practitioner, read the symptoms and do as Hahnemann has instructed us, match those symptoms to the person suffering and administer it to the person in the proper potency, and then, or the well-selected potency based on their totality of symptoms, matching their life force, and see what the result is. That's
The
how we
old
know.
homeopaths used to say
Mm,
it's not a remedy until it's healed somebody. It's a medicine,
exactly.
but
It's a
it
med
doesn't become a remedy until
exactly.
it has been given and it has acted well.
And so, yes. And so, with this in mind, I say to my students and to the people who participate in the provings, Karen, that like it is a substance that's been homeopathically potentized, or potentized and succussed and diluted, but it doesn't become a remedy until we know like what it is, how it lives and moves and has its being, and helps to right the wrongs or the errors of life, or the symptoms that are causing people to be made sick.
So how did you get the source for this remedy?
So one of my student mentees had a friend who traveled to Antarctica and captured some snow and brought a tube back, and she asked me, could we do this? And so then we took that substance and we double blinded it, meaning that we put an alternate code of numbers and letters, and we put it into a, like, I have about 13 substances in the queue that want to be proven, but like each proof group, I think, selects what substance they're going to prove. Now, some people feel like this is kind of magical thinking, but I actually think that the substance, I think that it's possible that the substance selects us, and that we are vehicles through which we provers, supervisors and master provers are vehicles through which certain substances come into focus in this time and space.
Yeah.
And so this was brought back to the United States and then kept in my freezer until it was time to like send it off to Helios in London, and they helped me to raise it up. And yeah, so.
And so when you started the proving, what was the first thing that people were noticing? You went through the whole process, you had people being supervised and reporting. What were the initial things that the provers noticed first? And then what were the biggest themes?
Yeah, so tempestuousness is the word that I would say to you, that this kind of tempestuous chasm, clash, um, you know,
Like January 6th, like George
January
Floyd,
6th,
some
George
kind of
Floyd. Yeah,
conflict, furor,
yes,
tempest.
yes. And so like what I would say is, with the proving team that I've had over the course of the last uh now almost 25 years, let's see, almost 30 years, with the proving team that I've worked with, many people, many main provers and supervisors have remained. But compared to the previous 15 provings that I had done, like the only one that was so dramatic and so filled with paranormal coincidences was Lux Foraminus Nigris, which is a controversial imponderable known as the black hole.
Yeah.
But it was so filled with paranormal coincidences and these tempestuous forces of nature and society that, like, in this proving, extraordinary things happened, as if like, and I've talked about this as like this kind of the roaring sound of the glacier crashing, right? Something like edifice or false pretense of society crashing away into the deep waters of the southernmost point on the planet. And there was this process by which, like, strange phenomena, extraordinary connections, and things that defied the rational mind, came up in the proving that reminded me only of what would be described in indigenous communities for, the welcoming the unknown visitor, or the stranger from afar, like where the villagers are aware something is about to happen and have prepared feast for this stranger, right? That is arriving amongst us. And um so this substance is about, like, an old order falling or crashing away and a new order rising up, or having to face uh face to let our past be the past so that we can be more fully in the present.
So people who would benefit from this remedy are people who are on the precipice of a transformation, or they are in the midst of one, or they are seeking one because they're so stuck and they're about to, or somebody
Yeah,
who like having a Saturn return and their whole life is
Yeah,
falling apart and they're starting into a new thing.
exactly. Someone who is having a Saturn return and has a sense of isolation, which was the most frequent theme within the proving, this sense of isolation, alienation, as though I'm the only one, which of
Oh,
course we've all experienced. But then this is tied in with themes of darkness and chaos, and uh, and this kind of energy of meeting the Great Mother within the world, within worlds, within worlds, right? Like the Great Mother who formed the cosmic architecture, chaos herself,
mhm,
right?
mhm. Was
Where
this
every
coming up in people's dreams?
yes, this came up in people's dreams and in their um, in how they're talking about the proving.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, you know, in chaos, everything forms and dissolves over and over and over. Even the earth
Mm-hmm.
dissolves and reforms. And the Antarctic was once a part of Australia, India, many different continents when the earth was formed in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a, a lot about the lack of oxygen and the legend of the hollow earth and this theme of I can't breathe, which is what George Floyd was constantly saying,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
This phrase came up on our screens, it appeared in the proving a week before George Floyd died and was repeatedly saying, I can't breathe, I can't breathe.
Wow.
I want to honor that person, and I'm not trying to make this into a sensational kind of uh, thing, but it is quite remarkable when we're like in the proving over and over, people are saying, I can't breathe. And then this man dies in such a violent way. So the theme of deep crevices and deep cracks within our society, like, and like having to face the treacherous and the unjust in
Mm-hmm.
these kinds of things came up over and over again.
Mm-hmm. And
Um,
so this gives us an idea about the experience of the people. Were there things that were consistent physiological manifestations beyond the I can't breathe, a sense of tightness or heaviness in the lungs, or what was it that was happening in people's bodies?
Um, so the theme of death came up again and again in this, and people were talking about dead relatives, women from their past,
Oh.
and then seeing, like, having apparitions of dead relatives, and then the what ifs about, and like bursting into tears, and and all these facing the inevitable were kind of some of the mental things. And then, as I mentioned, there was a whole, like, these are the kind of in mental emotional kinds of things. But I did bring a case of a woman who did really well
Tell
on this
us.
remedy, and I
Yeah,
just thought
please.
I would read to you. This is a woman who had metastatic breast cancer that went into her spine, rather, and at some point she she said that they found out that the tumor in her spine cracked her spine, and she said it fractured my spine. And it said when that fracture occurred, a chill went through the core of my being. And so when I do my work, I often ask people to do a kind of hmm, trance process where I ask them to breathe deeply into the point of the most extreme pain in their body, closing their eyes and giving themselves all the, free range to completely describe what they say. And she says this when I gave her the opportunity to do this. I immediately am feeling tingling down both legs, as though my legs are frostbitten. Worse on the left, definitely triggered by walking. And then it starts back, and I sit down. I have to sit down. There's shooting and tingling, that kind of frostbite feeling that feels like they're shooting up from my foot to the point of my thigh. I have this kind of sensation of bursitis in my right shoulder, as though I've been carrying a great load. Then this cancer feels like a great load. There's a fracture to it, a fracture in T10. It's heavy and full of water. Full of water. I can't really describe what that means, but the water, it's churning, burning, tingling, and something is adjacent to it. Maybe it's my rib cage, like a fracture. There's like a great lightning bolt, zigzag, not straight down, but from an angle. And this causes feelings of panic, pain, trapped, alienation, telling myself, I have to be healing, but I feel so scared to be in this body and so afraid to lose it, as though I must face my death, the imminence of my death, with a lot of pain. And I feel scared of the ribs constricting, fracturing themselves. So this is like an example of the language that came out of her. And of course, while she's telling me this, I'm remembering, oh yes, this is the language that came up in the proving of Aqua, Glacier, Antarctica.
Death, of cracking,
Fracturing, the loss of
full of water.
full of water, constricting, bursitis, pains, bursting, tingling, electrical, lightning, these kinds of things.
So a lot of neurological sensation.
Yes.
Mm.
So I wanted to say a few things about like remedy relationships, if I could, with this.
Yes, please.
Because one of the most, so when I'm doing a repertorization of the proving, I literally sit down and write out a rubric for every line that's given. And then someone goes through in the end, like, and it's like hundreds and hundreds of pages, right? Or hundreds of rubrics. And now with the radar opus, you can see other remedies that are kind of coming up. And one of the interesting things is that 5 remedies kept appearing in the chosen rubrics again and again as differential remedies for Aqua, Glacier, Antarctica. And I wanted to tell you those remedies. Hydrogenium, which is a substance for individuals who experience separation from the unity and oneness of all things. The
And
state of
an element in water.
An element in water, yes. And then Lux Foraminus Nigris, the imponderable, which I am also repertorized, but like I really try to like repertorize just on the basis of what I'm seeing, not because in reference to other. So like this, there is a sense that there's a tear in the fabric of reality in these individuals, and an alternation between energy being pulled within the multiverse to parallel dimensions and a boundless expansive energy. So one of the things that I just want, this may be too much for this, but water reflects all things, right? But hydrogenium and Lux Foraminus Nigris are kind of polar remedies. Do you understand what I mean?
They're
like tensions of opposites.
Right.
And so often I've seen people needing this remedy and then following up needing this remedy, or vice versa.
Oh, how interesting.
So
for those of us who have clients who, when somebody comes in and they have this tear in the fabric of the universe, it's not an easy thing to convey. And they may have tried to talk to other people about it who were like, yeah, whoo. And when they finally talk to a homeopath who can hear them, it's not necessarily, unless you know the state of hydrogen or luxfuranum, or, one of these remedies that deals with fundamental incarnation in the face of other energies. Not so easy to find.
Right.
And it comes down to senses of duality, senses of alienation. We can sort of find our way in there, but it's really interesting to see that Aqua Glacier is related to those two things. Okay.
Yeah.
What were the other remedies?
The other remedies were ozonum.
Mm, mm-hmm.
And so ozonum is so the remedy ozonum is oxygen with three instead of two atoms in a
Yeah,
molecule.
yeah,
And this is a remedy that we know to be used for people who are aloof and very sensitive to temperature, time, and space distortions and changes. It's one of those, it would be in one of our, in the rubric of the human barometer
yeah.
kind of person. And these individuals who need the ozonum are often solitary travelers through the world, and they're highly rebellious, individualistic, and seeking self-actualization. And one of the things that paralleled and ran through Aqua, Glacier, Antarctica, and ozonum were the clinical pathologies connected with respiration, chronic cough, respiratory complaints, asthma, sinusitis, infections, coronavirus, and then and both had the amelioration by thunderstorm and lightning. They
Oh, how
ameliorate,
interesting. Right, right.
ameliorate mental and emotional and physical symptoms of the individual needing ozonum. And you heard the woman when she went into the point of pain in her T10 spinal process, like she saw lightning in that space.
Yeah, yeah.
And the main cause of ozone depletion is manufactured chemicals. And so the other remedy that came up in this is plutonium nitricum,
All right. Which is
which
also a big transformational energy.
and it has to do with duty and responsibility to maintain the pressure and destructive power held within our human life force.
Wow.
And so plutonium nitricum has within it this self-sacrifice for the greater good. And
Mhm.
people like many, many, many explorers sacrificed their lives to go to Antarctica. And
Yeah.
it's a very interesting uh, process. And one of the interesting things that I discovered in in the in the process of studying Aqua, Glacier, Antarctica, and the Antarctic is that there are vortexes, uh, like black holes within, uh, within the waters um, of the uh,
The Antarctic Sea under the ice.
yes.
Oh,
And it's so energy like vortexes. This is one of the provers said this. Energies are like vortexes. They can draw one down into dark depths where one is lost in blackness, but they can draw one down into the deep blue underground cave. There is a series of photos by an underwater deep cave diver. The caves, or cenotes, are located in the jungles of Mexico and reveal submerged beauty. So that came out in the proving, like from a prover, and then many people talked about this. And so
wow.
there's also, uh, the tempestuous realms, the powerful forces of wind and wave and clash bring up these mineral rich waters from the deep, and these powerful forces create the equivalent of black holes in the ocean, which is a theme that uh, appeared again and again in the
Wow.
this in this proving.
Wow. That's amazing. Are you familiar with the remedy Diospyros, the fruit tree from
Yes,
Nagasaki that got
yes,
the blast, the nuclear
yes,
blast? That
yes.
would be another one that I would want,
The atomic blast.
right?
Yes, yes,
And
yes,
I would want to read that along with the proving of this because it seems like it's sort of in the same pile.
yes, exactly. Because what happens is that it is the everything. I guess what the reason I'm revealing and then the final remedy differential is tempestus.
Oh, I
The
don't know this remedy at all. I've never heard of this.
tempestus is is a substance, let's see. Um, is it possible for me to quickly do a screen
Sure,
share?
sure.
Okay.
And we are just about at time, so we're going to need to
Yes.
ramp up.
I just want to show this.
Thunderstorm. Wow. So how was this made? What was the source? Was this
This
like
was
an island off?
it was an imponderable, I believe, done in Scotland or the United
Uh-huh,
Kingdom somewhere.
uh-huh.
But I just want you to see this because I'm bringing this up because these are unusual remedies. Uh,
Mhm.
these individuals can appear to walk in between worlds of complete calm or tranquility and then destruction and unleashing of long-held anger and fits of fury and rage.
Wow. Have you seen this maybe applicable for people who are bipolar?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. So this is amazing. And thank you so much for sharing all of this. Where can people learn more? I know you've got information at your website, the Field Provings.
Yes, the field proving, should I put that in the chat?
Yeah, please. And people can purchase these remedies from, does
These can be
Prometheus
purchased
have a
from
formulary or
we
Prometheus
have, yeah, Prometheus Homeopathic Institute. We sell our remedies on the
on the
we
website?
sell remedies on our somewhere on our website. I'm sorry, I didn't have that prepared.
It's all
And then
right.
where do I put this to, or
In
can
the
I?
Oh, Beth Bundy's already put it in here,
Okay, great.
www.bfieldprovings.org. And is Aqua Glacier in there?
It's not there yet for some reason, but we will get it there. And it's also in,
Otherwise, guys, write him emails saying, come on, we're curious.
and like and we also, if people are interested in participating in provings, or if they would be interested in participating in in a proving like exploration through the hub and in association with Prometheus Homeopathic Institute, where we can work on that, we can do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And so if you're interested, let the hub office know. Jason-Aeric and I are interested in setting that up where we partner with his provings team. And the advantage of the hub is that we have people all over the world. And so many provings have been done locally with a group of people who are in a specific environmental condition. And with humanity being as interconnected as it is now, it would be quite wonderful to do a proving where we have people in multiple states, multiple countries, multiple environments, and that would be a very cool thing. All right.
Yes.
Jason-Aeric, I just love you. Thank you so much for
Thank
doing
you,
this,
Karen.
for the vision you have, for the bright spark that you bring to it. Thank you, everybody who's investing their time in learning homeopathy and reaching deep into what it is to be human. So,
Yeah,
blessings to you all, and I will see you guys in another session. Take
thank
care.
you so much. Be loved.
Bye-bye.